commented that it's been unprecedented for a sitting First Lady to be so actively engaged in a presidential campaign. And that may be true, but what's also true is that this is truly an unprecedented election. And that's why I'm out here.
That was, of course, more of Michelle Obama, the star of Hillary Clinton's rally today in North Carolina, making a joint appearance. Former and current First Lady joining us now, one of the best reporters in the business, Ann Guerin, political correspondent for the Washington Post. She is in the nation's capital. What'd you think of the body language? I remember back in 2008, Bill Clinton and Barack Obama did one event together in the general election, and the body language was not all that warm. Seemed pretty warm to me today.
Yeah, it was. I mean, they came out together, not totally, in the classic Clinton arm-in-arm pose that you would see maybe with a vice president, but very, close together. And Michelle Obama made a point of saying that she considers Clinton a friend. I think that was in some ways a nod to the perception that they do not have a particularly close relationship. It's certainly true that they don't have an enormous amount of experience with one another, and that their relationship wasn't so great 8 years ago in the aftermath of the 2008 election. It has grown considerably deeper and warmer since, and I thought Michelle Obama really had substantive things to say today about what she thought Clinton could do as president that go beyond a standard one Democrat endorsing another kind of stump speech.
And I think one of the big stories of 2016 is the just undeniable reality that Michelle Obama is now the biggest star in the Democratic Party. She's performing at a level even higher than her husband, but she's not out as often as her husband, who's doing a lot of campaigning right now. How much are we going to see of her between now and Election Day?
A fair amount, a surprisingly large amount, even by the Clinton campaign's expectations. They will tell you they are surprised that Michelle Obama wants to do as much as she is volunteering to do, and they say they are not pressuring her to do more, but that in fact she came to them with a number of proposals about things that she wanted to talk about, and including today's event as a side-by-side with Hillary Clinton. I think one data point that is telling is that they booked a really, really big venue today. It's a stadium that, in some configurations, can seat 14,000 people. The way it was configured today, it seats fewer than that, and that there was a capacity crowd of about 11,000, according to the fire marshal. That is more than twice the size of really any but the very, very two or three largest Clinton rallies we've seen all year. Crowd sizes at recent rallies, and I mean, we are 2 weeks from the election. Crowd sizes at recent rallies have been more in the 1,700, 2,500, maybe 3,000 range. Certainly not 11,000.
I want to switch over and talk about the WikiLeaks and the Doug Band disclosures. Jennifer Palmieri was on MSNBC earlier today, and no matter what Chris Jansing asked her, she basically said, the Russians, this was done by the Russians. Do you get the sense that they plan to keep that up basically as their answer for the next 2 weeks, or is something going to force their hand?
Well, they don't think something has forced their hand yet. It certainly appears that with 12 days left, they think they can gut it out by just continually saying this is stolen property. By the way, it was stolen by the Russians. And has anybody taken a good hard look at Donald Trump's connection to the Russians? All good questions, all valid points, but completely beside the point to the really mounting pile of dirty laundry that we see in these emails. Notably, they do not dispute the authenticity of these emails. They simply won't confirm it.
And do you think, well, first of all, it'd be interesting to point out today Donald Trump again went out and saying Vladimir Putin's praises again on the campaign trail, giving the Clinton campaign a little bit of a gift there. To what extent is the campaign now fully aware? Have they totally gone through all of John Podesta's Gmail now, so they know what Assange has and they can be prepared as these things come out between now and Election Day?
Well, God, you'd hope so, right? I mean, just to know what the potential trove is that's out there. One thing we really don't know from the outside is exactly when it was clear to the campaign that this material had been stolen, and exactly how much they knew about the size and scope of that theft. Podesta apparently never deleted anything. He had many years of email stored in his Gmail. So with apparently one hack, whoever did it was able to go back many years, spanning Podesta's time out of government at the White House, and as he was the chairman in waiting of the campaign. So it's an awful lot that was exposed there, and you have to think that the Clinton campaign and lawyers have been going through that for months. We knew that they knew that there was a risk out there. We just didn't know exactly what it was.
And we talked about it earlier, but I'd love to hear you just enunciate it. We've seen weeks, days and days of these emails come out. The batch release yesterday produced front page stories in your paper, the Wall Street Journal, New York Times. What was it about that Bann memo that you think caused people to make a bigger deal than of most of the previous emails?
Well, it drew a lot of lines that we've really only seen the traces of before. It drew them quite explicitly. And beyond that, here you have Doug Bann, once one of Bill Clinton's most loyal and trusted closest aides, appearing to point fingers at the boss, right, at Bill Clinton, saying, look, how come you're saying that I shouldn't be doing some of these having some of this overlapping business and charitable relationships, some of these, when Bill Clinton has far more than I do, and has even greater exposure. If you consider it a risk, he has greater exposure than I do. That's a fairly extraordinary thing for someone in his position, and frankly, who owed his position to Bill Clinton, to say. And one interesting aspect of it, I think, raised the profile of it and caused us to write about it in the detail we did, is that you see John Podesta trying to tamp this down a little bit and saying, hey, cool it a little bit. I don't think that's quite the language you want to use. And Bann is saying, oh no, that is exactly what I want to say, and I want to defend myself.